Welcome to the Healthy Happy Hour podcast with your hosts, Victoria McCullough and Leandra Jackson, your go-to girlfriends for all things fitness, nutrition, and natural wellness. They believe that getting older doesn't mean slowing down. It means getting stronger, healthier, and more vibrant. Each week, they'll share practical tips, real conversations, and simple habits to help you feel your best inside and out. From workouts that fit your lifestyle, to nourishing your body with wholesome foods, to discovering the power of essential oils and natural doTERRA products. They're here to help you age with energy, confidence, and joy. Grab your favorite healthy drink, pull up a chair, and toast to living well and thriving through every season of life together.
All right.
Welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning, everybody.
All right. We are here for our amazing monthly Healthy Happy Hour podcast.
It is
And we're-
February.
Yes. And we're going to be talking about heart health, self-love, and caring for your heart physically and emotionally. And today we have a very special guest, Mindy Reichert, with Relationships Unlocked.
Yes. So
Thank
she
you.
is going
Bye.
to, you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Mindy Reichert. My business is called Relationships Unlocked. I help couples and individuals navigate the complexities of relationships, communication, things like that. I am a master relationship coach, and I love to talk about this stuff. This is my favorite topic. So.
Yes.
Gonna get a little.
So important this month. Exactly.
It's the month of
Yes.
love, right?
And, this is really going to be geared toward women over 40, busy moms, caregivers, grandmas, but really, anybody, honestly. But, we kind of focus in because that's who we are.
We're there.
And it's more than just Valentine's this month. We want to focus on love and self-care every day. And today we're talking about how to care for your heart in ways that fit real life. So, self-care is not selfish. I was just having a client the other day and she was like talking about, I don't like to do this and that. And it's like, I understand that it's hard to get over that mom guilt for taking care of yourself. And it's important to know that we still need to do that. And it is foundational.
Yeah.
So.
It's something that I always tell people that it's really not selfish, because if you're not taking care of yourself, how are you going to take care of everybody else in your family, right? So it is okay. A lot of moms always want to say, I put my kids first. Well, that's the probably not a good choice. That's not the choice you want, because you put your kids first, then who's going to take care of your kids when you're just tanked and you're done and you're sick? So you have to take care of yourself so that you can give more to your family. So it's not selfish. It's actually showing them more love by taking care of you so that you are available and you're healthier and you're able to give more to your own family. So it is important to do that.
And I know you guys, this is focusing on women over 40. However, I think women under 40, so 20 and up, really should pay attention to this too, because you don't want to get to that point in your 40s and 50s and you're done.
Yeah.
Like you are just emotionally sucked the life out of you.
Yeah.
Kids, whether it's spouse, whether it's job, you want to learn these fundamental
early
things
Absolutely.
early.
Yeah. The
So
sooner
that
you get them in place.
so that you're not playing catch up.
100%.
Yeah, and you've already understand why when you're in your 20s, why it's important to, take care of yourself.
To
And
make
then
it a
as
habit.
you start going, it'll be natural as you get older, and
Make
it
it a
won't
habit.
seem so like, you won't feel like it's a burden or
Like
it's-
all of a sudden I'm doing this and
Yeah.
everybody's wondering, where's mom? Mom is where she's
Yeah.
always been, because the mom has her time to herself every week, because this is how
This is
all they've ever known
Yeah.
since they were babies.
I saw something, I think it was on TikTok or something, and one of the girls was saying, oh no, it was on a show I was watching last night, and she was talking about, and it kind of made me sad, because she was talking about, she has a baby, and she was talking about, they were watching, it was a cop show, and watching the girls run across, they were a stakeout, and they were watching the girls go into this club, and she goes, I so miss the days when it was just about me. And I thought, that's sad, to think that, your children, it almost makes it sound like they're a burden. Like now they've taken away me.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't be that. You shouldn't forget who you are.
You just
And feel
incorporate
like-
them
yeah,
into
it's
who
like-
you are.
But
I was
on
like,
the same
wow,
token,
that's
that sounds a little selfish.
It does,
like when
because it was like-
it was just about me, and it's like, well, it should never be just about you.
Yeah.
Like that should be a big portion of your life, is your self-care and taking care of you. But you don't want to live in a bubble.
Yeah, you don't want to feel like, when I start having kids
Yeah.
or a family, that all of a sudden I can't be who I am. Because you hear that a lot where moms will be like, I forgot who I was. And then because they've spent all their life, and then when their kids are grown and they're empty nesters, they don't even know who they are.
Yeah, they're just empty. They feel so,
that was
just kind of lost.
Yeah, my whole life I wanted to be a wife and a mother. Mm-hmm. So when I got to the point where my kids were old enough that they didn't need me as much anymore, like in that same capacity, I was like, okay, well, what do I do now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, obviously I'm still a wife and a mother. I still have to take care of and everything. But yeah, I'm like, okay, what's my purpose in life now? Mm-hmm. So I had to kind of figure that out. I mean, thankfully I figured it out pretty quickly, but
some people
by accident.
So that is something to always remember, that, you don't have to forget and give up who you are. Right. You just need to learn how to kind of I guess that's where the balance and the managing, and it's not always going to be balanced every day. So one of the things that's really important to manage in your life, to make sure that it is set in place and as a habit, is fitness for your heart health, because our heart is our battery, right? It's what's going to keep us moving, keep us going. So we want to make sure that our heart is healthy, especially as we get older, we go through menopause and perimenopause and beyond. It's really important that we're taking some steps, because what ends up happening is as we get older, our hormones start shifting, and we start having muscle loss. And you lose about 3 to 8% per decade after 30. And then after 40, there's another 0.1 to 1% per year. After menopause, it even accelerates. So it's really important to start that strength training early on in life. It's never too late to start it. So if you've been like, well, I never lifted weights, it's okay. You just got to learn how to do it nice and slow. Start building up to it. You're going to notice a big difference, because we still need to be mobile. We want to make sure that we manage our stress, and we want to watch the inflammation in our bodies. And a lot of people don't realize when they're stepping on the scale and they're weighing themselves that some of the weight on there is inflammation. It's cortisol. It's not fat. It's not always fat. It is. That's why you'll see it shift from the nighttime to the morning, because it's a water weight, inflammation, and different things. So you want to manage the inflammation. The best types of healthy movement is just walking. Getting out and walking about 20 to 30 minutes a day. We always had that 10,000 steps. Everybody kind of sticks to it. Well, it doesn't have to be specifically that. Right. It is, where are you at right now? How much do you move? Do you sit all day long? Well, if you sit all day long, you're probably not going to get 10,000 steps in. So get up and figure out how you can get, a couple thousand steps in. Do those things to move, because if you ever, whenever people have heart attacks, what's the first thing they tell them?
Yeah, get up and
go walk. Yeah. Start walking every day. So if you can walk every day, strength training, ladies, less cardio and high impact. We want to do more strength training to build our bones, build lean muscle.
So important.
And we need to be strong. We need all our joints. So we need to do multi-joint movements with weights, not lifting 5 pounds forever. Start lifting as much as you can, but properly. You want to do it in good form, not just to try and lift it, and then you end up hurting yourself even more.
Right. Do it.
You want to do, that's where a coach comes in.
Slow and steady.
Exactly. There's so many people that will go back into the gym and then they hurt themselves because they're trying to do too much. I've done
so many people
times.
have that in their head and go, well, you are there.
It's just fine.
Yeah, I used to be able to do this, and then you're not there. You're not 10 years ago. 10 years ago, I was able to do this. Well, 10 years later, you're not going to be able to do that. You need to work your way. You want more low impact, less impact on your joints. You want to do like cycling, swimming. You want to do some intervals, stretching, yoga. Is PiYo even around anymore?
I don't hear of it as much. I hear more like Pilates.
You have more your Pilates. Yeah. But you want to do some stretching.
I really like body weight exercises.
Yeah. All you need to do is find some mobility exercises. You can YouTube them. We have them on our YouTube channels. And things like I said, you don't want to do is over cardio, because cardio too much is going to increase your cortisol. Right. It's only going to burn calories while you're doing it, and maybe an hour after. Muscles, the more muscle you build is going to be burning calories a lot more over the next 24 to 48 hours.
Increasing your metabolism.
So increasing your metabolism. So remember, cardio can be, if you like running and jogging, doing that, if that's just something you do, fine, do it. But remember, strength training is key. Overdo it. Don't do punishing workouts. I'm not going to knock CrossFit, but if you're going to go into CrossFit, just be careful with what you do, because those those are a lot of joint movements that people have a tendency to get injured, and that's pushing too much. Realistically, like I said, 20 to 30 minutes, 3 to 4 days a week, and just make sure that you're consistent. Okay. And that's really it. When you want to do is try to get out. You don't need to exhaust yourself. You want to protect your heart, but you just want it to be strong.
Exactly. And kind of going into that, when we're coming out of an exercise, we don't want to go for the food that's going to just pack on the calories and the fat again. We want to make sure that we're eating good, healthy, supportive foods for our heart and hormones. And simple nutrition is both supportive for those things. So we want to add things like healthy fats, avocados, olive oil, omega-3 fatty acids. You're going to get your fish in there, chia seeds,
Salmon.
nuts. Yeah, exactly. Protein for the blood sugar. Don't eat high glycemic foods. There's a really great website that I like. It's called eatright.org. And or it might be .com. Check both.
Whatever.
And it is a great website that will give you all different kinds of resources for, like, I want to eat low glycemic. I want to eat good for my blood sugar or my blood pressure. I want to eat to lose weight. And so these high protein, high fiber, you can narrow it down to those specific kinds of recipes. And a lot of them are really easy. So make sure you're getting plenty of fiber. We are a society lacking in fiber. And
believe me, I know. I went through diverticulosis.
Yes. And
I was like, how do I prevent this from happening again? Because that was a bad year. And the doctor was like, more fiber.
Yes.
Just eat more fiber.
Yeah,
You
because
need the
all
fiber
that
to
crap
push it
food
up,
will
yeah.
just put those little holes in your gut and create these divots that get stuck, and the food gets stuck
The
in
water
there.
and the
The
fiber,
fiber
yeah,
help
needs
push
to
it
move
out.
through.
So I like chia seeds. I like, you can do flax. You can do lots of cruciferous vegetables. They're very important, and that's good for your cholesterol and your digestion. Heart support foods, lots of leafy greens, lots of berries, fatty fish, which we discussed, nuts and seeds. And make sure you're looking at stuff that's seasonal. The closer you can get your food to home, the more nutrition there are going to be in there.
Eat for the seasons.
Eat for the seasons, exactly. And so, like right now, watermelon might sound amazing, and you might be able to get one, but it's going to be kind of from far away. It might not be
Not
good.
as sweet.
No,
Or
I've
the
heard
squash.
lately that stuff from Mexico is probably safer.
Is it?
Yeah. I have been through kind of Mexico. It was years ago when we drove through there for a mission trip, and you could see like their huge greenhouses, and it was pretty cool. I was like, dang, they're growing a lot of stuff in there. That's really cool. We want to eat things that are less in sugar, and if you have to cut sugar out completely, you can use things like dates, coconut sugar. Erythritol is an option. It's not a great one, but then like stevia can be an option.
I like stevia.
Even honey, but it's more local honey. If you
Yeah,
want.
yeah,
Make sure you
local
stay
honey.
local. Yeah.
Or
honey.
real maple syrup.
Yeah.
But about honey, because they say like honey is really good for allergies
Yeah.
and stuff
Right.
until you cook it.
Okay, yeah.
So like
Well,
once
pasteurized
you heat it up, it's not as effective.
Oh, yeah.
So like people are like, I'll put it in my tea. No, just eat a
Right.
spoonful of
But
it.
if you're using it for your allergies, yeah,
I
you
do
just
like
need
to
a whole
eat.
tablespoon.
I
on it.
do. I love.
You got to get those enzymes because
Yeah,
meat will
exactly.
degrade
You can
enzymes.
put, like your honey instead of what you, of course, like you said, maple syrup, the real full
Yeah.
grade A.
The stuff from
Yeah.
Maine.
Yeah,
Canada.
and put that on your pancakes. You have healthy pancakes, just drizzle it on there,
Exactly.
or in your fruit.
oatmeal.
I make
yeah.
it
in your
I make
oatmeal.
granola and I make it with real maple syrup.
Exactly. So if you need that little sweetness, just use something that's not going to be just plain old table sugar. Stay away from the highly processed foods. Try not to eat out of a box. I know when my husband and I first got out of the military, like 20 years ago, it kind of dates me. But anyway, we were not having a lot of money, and we ate a lot of like Hamburger Helper and stuff like that, not realizing, oh, this is fine. We're adding it. But it's, when you really look at the ingredients.
So much sodium.
Yeah, and have you heard of the app Yucca?
Yes, I was just going to say
Yucca
that.
is amazing.
It's a great
and I go through my pantry and I'm like, oh crap, I thought it was good. But it's YUKA.
Yes.
And it is actually basically all you do is scan it.
You
The barcode,
scan the barcode.
and it's going to give you a grade. It's going to be 1 through 100, and it's red, green, yellow. And if it's green, great, it's healthy for you, and it'll show you the nutrition level in it. If it's red or yellow, it's going to give you healthier options. And it's kind of nice because some stuff, like I always thought, yeah, pancakes is good. You know what? I'll keep that on standby. But because it does show like the reds are like the processed food up here. And then it'll say, okay, green it's got protein and it's got like a fiber.
Yeah.
So it's
tell you
higher.
the good and
So
the bad.
It was, yeah, we were
Yes.
doing that at her house the other day. I was like,
Yeah.
go get a thing.
Yeah.
I was pulling out all my father-in-law's like keto friendly stuff. 'cause
Nice.
And we found
he's
some that
got
was pretty
type 2.
good.
Yeah, he's got type 2 diabetes. And so we're trying to keep his carbs low because people always think diabetes, they think sugar. And it's like, well,
Carbs
no
too.
sugar doesn't
Yeah,
equal no
carbs turn to
carbs.
sugar,
Yeah, like
Yeah.
sugar-free doesn't mean carb-free.
Yeah.
And
Right.
sugar-free usually means that they filled it with
Added.
something else that's
Yes.
not good
If it's
for
sugar free,
you.
it's usually the fat. Because
Yeah.
remember, it used to be that fat free thing. So there was
Yeah, you
it
should
was-
go full
Or they
fat.
put,
There's a
they
lot more
put-
sugar instead.
Yeah.
or they put a sweetener in it that's just terrible for you.
Exactly.
So you got to look and see what
Artificial
makes it sugar free and what did they replace the sugar with.
right,
Yeah.
exactly.
So the app is kind of cool because in the grocery store, it's a lot faster than even going on ChatGPT. You
I
just
know,
scan it,
I love it.
and then you're like not feeling like you're standing there forever trying to look up food. You just
Yep.
it becomes
Mhm.
fun.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
like a game. It's like
Yeah,
oh,
it makes it easy, and you can use it to like create your meals and
Yeah.
whatnot. But and then skipping meals. People might think, oh, I just do the one meal a day
Oh, God,
thing.
no.
Well, that's not a good idea because
Now your
you're
blood
just
sugar.
going to store things, and then when you do finally eat, like say your blood sugar is just going to spike, and
And then you're going
You're
to
gonna
what
overeat,
time are
yeah.
you going to eat? You know, when are you going to eat that meal? And then how quickly are you going to go to bed or just go sit down after that?
And are you getting enough calories in the day?
Exactly. You still need to
function.
get between, 1,300, 2,000 calories a day, depending on the person and how active you are. And if you're only getting 700 calories in a meal and you eat once a day, you're not going to get to where you want to be. So it's just,
where you need to.
Or your digestive system is going to be all
Oh,
jacked
yeah,
up
it's
because
gonna
now if you're trying to get like 2 or 3 calories in one meal, which
Mhm.
people will say, well, I gotta eat it, go eat a Burger King. Well, for one, you shouldn't be eating that all the time, but
Mhm.
you're putting too much food in your body for your body to actually digest it. So now you're going to be uncomfortable and
Exactly.
And what do they say? It takes your brain 30 minutes to tell your stomach
20 to
it's
30
full.
minutes. Yeah.
Mhm.
That's why they say
So,
eat slow.
Eat slow,
put your
yeah.
spoon
Which
down or
it's really
fork.
hard for moms. My oldest is 25, and I still eat super fast.
I'll eat super fast too.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of came from like my dad and then also
In the
military. And it's like,
You
gotta
have
eat
like
fast, you
5
gotta eat
minutes to
fast.
eat everything.
No,
And
my
so
thing was
now-
like I had to eat and clean the house and take care of myself between feedings.
yeah.
Or you're up, and another bad habit is like a lot of times, it's like you're just eating while you're doing stuff. So you're like
Yeah.
you're not paying attention. So you need to be seated in a restful state for your body to actually digest better.
Yeah, and take your
So-
time, be mindful about it, and also be mindful about how you're feeling when you're eating. If
Mhm.
you're feeling miserable, if you have
Or
like a really
angry,
poor
stressed.
mood or stress, angry, then that's gonna wreak havoc on your
Yeah, I know what you're
autonomic,
talking
your
about.
autonomic
Yeah,
nervous
autonomic,
system.
yeah.
And so when you want to build your plate around protein, fiber, and healthy fat. And so a nice protein, it's something that's going to be good with fiber, of course, and then, your healthy fats. But then if you can't eat 3 meals or even 2 meals a day, make sure you're having a healthy snack with you, some fruit that's easy to carry around, some granola bars, even homemade granola bars, or if you are into more of the healthy fats, say kind of keto or whatever, you can make what are called fat bombs. And they're really good with healthy fats and a good high protein. You don't have to be on a ketogenic diet to
Yeah.
eat those. They're still very healthy for you. And I don't usually ever recommend a diet, so to speak, because they're very
It's what you-
unsustainable.
yeah. If it's a start and stop, that's not very good. Or if it's low, or eliminating foods.
Right.
yeah.
But if you're adding in the good foods and the bad things,
They
will just
will
fall away.
Yeah, they just
Yes.
kind of fall away. And then if you eat those other things, the fun foods, it's once in a while. It's not that bad.
Yeah, it's not, you don't want to deprive
You don't have
yourself
to
completely.
Keep
because then you're
everything
gonna
going.
be- And another thing about eating, if you're in a bad mood or you're whatever, brains are really good at associating things. So you don't want to be in a bad mood, like you don't want to always go to food whenever you're in a bad mood because you're going to always go to food whenever you're in a bad mood.
Yeah, eventually
Your brain
it
is going to get
becomes
used to it. It's going to become a habit and it's going to become an association and your brain is going to be like, oh, I feel sad. Let me go get a snack.
Mhm.
I feel this. Let me go get a snack.
And that's
Yeah.
where a lot of people have bad relationships with foods when they
Mhm.
when they start associating it with
Yeah.
their
Emotional eating.
feelings.
And then
yeah.
talking down to themselves because of it. And
Yeah.
it just makes it
And then you get
worse.
mad at yourself. Yeah, I just
Mhm.
ate that. Or
And then you're in a bad mood. So what do? You
Yeah.
go get another snack.
even when you're trying, what I've told some of my clients is like, even when they're like training for something, I'm like, and you get this craving, right? You want to eat, some Oreos or something. And I'm like, think about it first. Is it like, what's the reason that you want to eat those? If you absolutely feel like, haven't had them in a long time and you know that maybe one or two, then eat them, but don't go eating a whole
Right.
bunch and then
Yeah.
feel super guilty. It's like, eat it knowing, hey, you know what, I'm going to eat this and just be okay with
Yeah.
it and then move on.
And even like buying them.
Yeah.
You know, like for me, I can talk myself out of anything in the store. Like, I'm like, I don't need that. I can talk myself out of buying things that are on my list. Like, I don't need that today. I'll get it another-
Exactly.
But once it's in my house, all bets are off.
I used to be really bad with
And it's-
chocolate.
yeah,
If it was in front of me, I
so-
felt like it was never going to be there again.
Yeah,
and then I had to
exactly,
retrain
yes.
my
I'm
brain
like, it's so yummy.
to go like, you know what, there's going to be another day. There's going to be another time I can have that chocolate because this is what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
And, when I'm done, I'll have the chocolate. So,
Mm-hmm.
but
Exactly.
And I have my father-in-law living with us who, like I said, is a type 2 diabetic. And so I'm learning I don't want to be like that, because he doesn't have a whole lot of self-control or care or doesn't realize or, whatever the reason
sometimes
is.
they don't
But,
care when they get older and they're like, what is
and it's like, we watch his health go up and down and
Mhm.
deteriorate or get better. So yeah, I mean, he's gotten a lot better since he's lived here with us because we've regulated and managed.
Yeah,
you can
And it's
good.
made a huge difference. He
Yeah.
lost,
Good.
a ton of weight. Like, yeah.
Yeah, when I took care of my mom out of a memory care, she lost some weight, like extra weight that put all those carbs and healthy foods and everything, and
Whatever
then was
they
able
had.
to get her off some medications. And just overall, when you have somebody that's really caring for you kind of one-on-one, it makes a huge
Yeah.
difference when you're elderly, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And, that kind of goes into the emotional wellness and self-compassion too, because we were just talking about that. So, Mindy, many women over 40 carry huge emotional load. How do you see that weight showing up in their relationships with partners, friends, and themselves?
Well, I think it boils down to, how they really feel about themselves and how they let it affect them. So, if you allow yourself to get so bogged down with everyone else's emotions, like I struggle with this because I'm an empath, so I'm really good at sucking in everybody else's energy, positive and negative. I don't go to funerals, I don't go to weddings. It's like, because too much positive energy is
It's
a
going to be a
thing
mess
too.
by the end of the day.
Exactly.
Just
So,
drain.
but if they're so bogged down with everyone else's emotions and they're not taking care of themselves, it's going to absolutely affect their relationships because how you show up in a relationship reflects in others. So if you want others to show up a certain way with you, you need to also show up that, how you want them to show up with you. If you're an emotional wreck, that's not going to happen. You have to, like you said earlier, you have to take care of yourself. You have to put yourself first because if you can't take care of yourself, how do you take care of others? So definitely.
Exactly. And yeah, did you want to?
When it comes to the emotional part, that affects a lot of us. It affects our cortisol levels. It affects how we sleep, which is, the cortisol is going to affect how we sleep. It's going to affect your blood pressure, your body's inflammation. And people don't even realize that. A lot of people don't realize your emotions, your
Autonomic nervous. That's actually like
yeah.
That's like your just digestive.
Your
organ.
digestion, yeah. It's going to affect all of that because it's going to affect how you're like when you're eating and how your body digests food. And if you're not digesting food good, what are you feeling? Uncomfortable. You're bloated. Why do I feel like this? You're inflamed. I know we all carry all of this if we're not able to handle our emotions. So we have to learn how to just take care of ourselves, to do some deep breathing, to do, learn how to breathe, go outside, get some fresh air, get some vitamin D. Emotional loads on women, they're caregivers. We have these mental loads like you were talking about. We're putting everybody first. We need to learn how to take our plate and start chucking things off of it. What is absolutely necessary each day? What do I need to get done today? You might have this whole load because if you're like me, I have a written list and I have my list on my phone and, it's all these lists. Yeah. And it's like, okay. And then I just keep, we're adding to it all the time. It's never going to be empty. That list will never go away. It'd be nice, but what we have to do is just go what are the priorities that need to be done today? And then not worry so much about those other things. They will take, if the dishes are dirty, they can stay dirty for a little bit if you have something else to do. If you got to prioritize. And I used to say, write it down, have your list and then circle your top 3 things that you absolutely need to get done for the day. And then you'll feel good about it. You'll feel much better going I got that done instead of looking at that list of 20 things And, I'm that type of person. I do something, even if it's not on the list, I'll write it on the list and cross it
Fingers
off.
crossed
Right?
up. Yeah, that feels complete.
Don't do it the night before.
Yeah.
I'll look at my calendar for the next day and be like, okay, just so I kind of have a mental
Yeah.
impact, intake of like what I have going on the next day. But don't look at your to-do list the night before. That was a trap that I fell into. I have bad anxiety. And so when I would have panic attacks about, oh my gosh, there's so many things to do and I'm so overwhelmed. And I had to like teach myself how to calm down. And one of the things I taught myself was, but you don't have to do it today.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to happen tonight, right now, as you're getting ready for bed.
Yeah. And
You
there's some
have it
people that are
written
like,
down. You're not going to forget.
Yeah.
Like,
keep a notepad
Look at
by
it
your
tomorrow.
bed. And that's one thing I used to say, do mind dumps, have your notepad by your your bedside table
Mhm.
in case something comes to mind. Otherwise, what happens? You're going to be asleep, but thinking about it. And then that's going to cause you more issues when you're sleeping. You're not going to get that restful sleep. So you want to make sure that you're able to put those things aside. And like you said, sometimes people like to look at and go, this is my schedule for the week on Sundays, and know what's going on, and then kind of take a look in the morning to go, okay, this is where my day is going to go. Like she said, it's probably a good idea. If you look at it on Sunday, fine, for this is my week schedule, because as moms, we all know, we've talked about this numerous times, what we have on our calendar for tomorrow may not happen, and a lot more may happen. So we've got to you got to just, take it step by step and kind of don't stress over everything. Self-compassion versus self-criticism. Again, that kind of goes with that. Progress over perfection. Getting those few things done over trying to get the whole list done.
Every little win is a win. Doesn't matter
Mhm.
how
Baby
small
steps.
or big it is. Just,
I've seen that.
How do you eat an elephant?
one
One
bite
bite at a time.
I've seen those, and they've been becoming more popular. I've seen those calendars on how to clean your house and everything. But it's like only clean, like you're cleaning the each day. It has it. It's already, you're just doing, and it breaks everything down instead of people, I have to clean my house today.
I need to get one of those.
And you look, and they're
sounds
pretty
awesome.
cool. My one friend, she has a TBI, and that's where I first saw it, was she had that, and that's what she uses. So it helps her to kind of break things down. So it's not going, when you say I have to clean my house, you think you have a big house. You shouldn't think that way, Be like, okay, today we'll do this. Tomorrow we'll do this.
Yeah, exactly.
So practical emotional resets, deep breathing, like I said. You can always do the box breathing, which is.
Box breathing is breathing in with 4 counts, holding it for 4 counts, breathing out 4 counts, and then holding it for 4 counts there as well. That's a really great, it's like a box, 4, 4. So that is really good to just calm your nervous system down in the moment, slow your heart rate. Actually, that's a really great technique that is taught to like firefighters and people that are always on edge in their positions. Otherwise, just doing some nice deep belly breathing. Just, you don't even have to really focus on it too much, just expanding the belly on the inhales and contracting the bellies on the exhales. And that helps move your diaphragm up and down, literally massaging your internal organs. And that's really important to be able to get that movement in there, because we're always like this and we breathe real shallow into our chest. And so if we can take that down into our gut, massage our internal organs with our breath, and then calm ourselves down.
And she has some of those, you have those exercises on YouTube.
I have some breathing workouts.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, using that in the time of high stress, like, let's say you have to talk to your spouse or something about something that, could be breathe first, or your boss, or you just had
you never want to have a serious talk without like being on edge.
Never want to be
you
like,
you need to prepare yourself.
Prepare for it. Anytime, let's say, your kids got in trouble at school and they've called you and they're coming, don't just boom, go off on them right there. Just sit down, breathe, relax. You're going to have a better conversation, and you're going to feel better about it.
There's consequences to everything, whether they're good or bad.
Yeah.
So like you gotta stop and think, okay, what are the consequences if I go into this, guns blazing, or if I settle down?
Yeah. It's much easier to have deep, dark conversations. Deep conversations. It's called
I actually have another method that helps practical emotional resets, on more of the side that I'm more familiar with. So it's actually, what'd you say?
I said that sex.
kind of, sort of. No, it's actually doctor recommended for women to have an orgasm every day.
See?
Every morning, start your day off with an orgasm, because what it does is it releases all the happy hormones. So the dopamine, the serotonin, the oxytocin, all the good stuff. I've heard that oxytocin combats cortisol directly. I don't know if that's how much science is behind that, but it's also really good for your circulatory system.
Yeah.
It opens up your veins and your arteries.
Quickie in the morning is the way.
Or at least, at least an orgasm without your spouse.
She's got the toys
in the
for
shower,
that.
whatever, just real fast.
Yeah.
No, it does. It is actually scientifically proven that, it helps in so many areas. Helps relax you, helps calm you down.
Over the years, if I've said like, I have a headache, my husband's like, I know what will help your headache. So it's one way to get around.
It's actually true. For me,
it's like as much as that's not a good excuse anymore.
No,
Right?
that's not a good excuse. Can't
It's
use
so
that one,
funny.
ladies.
It's so funny because LEMD has like this aromatic thing, and it's funny for the month of February. It's like a nasal, like an inhaler to excite you, but it also comes with this little rose. It's a massager. I don't know if you guys have those. It's called the Rose. I forgot.
Yeah, there's all different ones.
I was like, does everybody know what that is? Because I posted it on my Facebook, and I'm like, you buy this, you get the Rose.
Everybody knows what that is. Anybody who's everybody, everybody's anybody knows what that is.
I went to a comedy show one time and the comedian was talking all about that. And I was like, that's hilarious.
Yeah, we had
So
one for a
funny.
little while. So.
Lots of stuff for Valentine's Day. You get a little
Yeah.
goodie bag.
Yeah, and essential oils can help with that too.
Oh, yeah, we talked about
making
that.
sure that your libido is good, making sure that you're feeling good, like ylang.
Is that what it's called? Yep.
Ylang is a good oil.
That's a funny one.
You got patchouli, which is always nice. Great conversation for you to come into.
I know, right? I was
Oh,
kinda thinking the same
cute.
thing. Now you need to
we're gonna make a special announcement. Her
make a
son-
Stegosaurus.
Nice little 3D prints. Starting to do
printers.
keychains. That's super
He
cute.
needs to make
I
a
love
Stegosaurus
that.
because that's my
Yeah,
daughter's
Yoda.
favorite. So a Stegosaurus, fun fact, is the Colorado state dinosaur.
That's very
It is
cool.
because the first fossil was found here. My 25-year-old is a STEM teacher, and she is obsessed with dinosaurs.
Oh,
She
that's
has
fine.
the Stegosaurus license plate. She has.
They have one for
They have
Valentine's?
one, and the money goes to
Stegosaurus.
Oh, very cool. Yeah.
So
Yeah, well, so the
That was
oil
our
is
commercial break.
roll it. Yeah, commercial break.
All right,
Our
so
sponsor
back on
was-
track now.
sponsored by Isaiah.
I know, as soon as he walks in on that conversation.
I know, right? I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, oh.
All right. So other
Well,
teams
pause.
are,
Yeah.
yeah, right. Quiet moments, just taking quiet moments. And don't feel guilty about it. Go hide in a closet. I've done that. I've sat in the closet, it's nice and quiet on the floor. Go for a walk outside. I mean, just sometimes you have to tell your family. I know it gets loud when us and all the kids are all together, and
Sure.
sometimes I know my ex. He gets we have 4 kids and they're extra others, and you get to talking. I remember a lot of times he would just walk away. He just has to go and reset himself because it's overstimulation. And if you feel that way where you get overstimulated by a lot going on around you, just step out and do the deep breathing, go for a walk, sit outside, just get some fresh air.
Yeah.
Walking's really good for
Reset.
anxiety.
Yeah. And, a lot of people like to walk with headphones. I like to walk and
Listen to the nature. Yes.
I prefer that unless I'm absolutely need to listen to a podcast or something. But
Yeah.
I like to just go. I'll put headphones on so
Listen
people
to
think
our
I'm listening to
podcast.
something. There you go.
So then
I'll
we
put it so people won't talk to me.
So then we
Keep
leave it
the
alone.
headphones on. All right. So how you speak to yourself affects your heart. So remember, always talk positive. Stop saying, "Gosh, I'm so dumb. God, I can't believe I didn't do that." Just beating yourself up. Saying oh gosh, about your weight, how you look. That you're always doing this. Stop with the absolutes. Absolutes are like the
And
worst
there's
thing.
negative self-talk loops.
Yeah,
Yeah.
people
that you
just
need to
go
avoid.
into it. Always think about what am I blessed with? What do you have good? Wake up in the morning thinking about gratitude. And, I was thinking that the other day, it's like, we talk about that. It's like, you could talk about all the negative things going on in the world and in your life and whatever. And it just keeps pulling you down and it just gets you riled up and you can just feel like your tension and everything in your face and your body. So speak softly to yourself, do the, I love you when you look in the mirror, just think about what it is that you're grateful for in your life,
Yeah,
when we
so-
talked about.
I think
A
I
way that I
actually addressed
really-
that later.
A way that I really
Oh.
like to kind of address the negative self-talk is, for me, it's the past that will come up and remind me of like, wow, I really did something dumb there, or I really said something dumb back then, or when, and then I think about that person in that time frame. So say 10 years ago, I was like, wow, that was really dumb of me. And instead of me thinking of myself now, I think that's a different person. And then I look at that person in the mirror and I say, you are still loved. I still love you. And it was a mistake and it's all fine now. And, just to comfort that person that did that or whatever is upsetting you instead of beating yourself up, because that's like a different person you can literally hug and love.
And the other thing on that too is a lot of this, because, I know my fiance goes, he had a rough childhood and, in the time of the military, everything, his early life with his ex-wives and all this stuff. And he never listens to my podcast, so he won't know. But anyways,
listen to this one.
I know, right? But anyways, he knows he can beat himself up. And what I do tell him all the time when he starts, that negative or thinking back on that is always tell him, where are you at right now? If what you made, the choices and the decisions that you made back then, would they lead you to where we are right now? We're happy. We're doing good. You have a good job. Everything in your past
shaped who you are.
Exactly. So you have to, instead of regretting so much
or wanting to change. Like people say that if you could go back and change one thing, not a thing.
No,
because then I would be somebody completely
exactly
different.
Like if I say I should have married him, well, guess what? I wouldn't have the kids that I have. My kids brought that.
My mom.
We were talking about it.
My mom always did that. Like she, you're like, we learned all about the guy she wished she'd married.
Yeah,
and that's I'm like, thanks, mom.
And you don't realize it when you're saying those things about, I wish I would have done this better. I wish I would have traveled. Because then the people and who is around you now, it's kind of like affects that. It's kind of going like, if you're happy with where you're at right now, then those things are exactly what brought every decision that you made brought you to where you're at. Focus on here and now. Those things also still affect you in some ways,
right?
But they shouldn't. It's kind of like, okay, where can you go from here?
And if you're not there yet, it's never too late.
Yeah,
if you don't like things around. And you've got a panel of amazing women right here that can certainly help you with coaching and everything. So
I want to ask her another question.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. From Mindy, from your perspective, how does the way we speak to ourselves influence the health of our relationships?
So we were just talking about this, the negative self-talk, negative self-talk loops, and how, you can change, instead of saying, oh man, I can't believe I did that, I'm so dumb. Turn it around, like, how could I have done that differently? Or, wow, that probably wasn't the best decision I've made, but let's, learning from it, that kind of thing. When I have clients, so I do coaching for couples and individuals. And when I have clients that are struggling with their self-image and self-worth and negative self-talk, what I ask them is, would you talk to your kids or your friends or your spouse like that? How about clients or strangers? Would you talk to them the way you talk to yourself? If not, then, we need to work on your self-image. We need to work on your positive self-talk. You have to have a healthy relationship with yourself before you can expect to have a healthy relationship with others. You can't squeeze from a turnip. You can't pour from an empty cup, all those things. We can cliche it to death, but you have to love yourself, which is really hard.
It can be
for some of us who never grew up knowing that.
Yeah, that low self-esteem can really.
So again, this is so important, and this is so important for young people to be hearing this too, for that reason, because you don't want to get to your 40s and go, oh, I should probably love myself better. No, you should have started that when you were younger. So definitely.
Well, thank you for that.
And there's lots of different oils that we can use for the stress and our sleep and our emotional health. And there's supportive tools without medical, we don't have medical claims, but there are a lot of really great supportive tools out there. It doesn't have to be FDA approved to work. That's what I feel. So some oils, like we were saying earlier, ylang ylang is great for emotional balance, calming, libido, heart-centered energy. Lavender is great for stress relief, sleeping, relaxation, and balance is a great grounding blend to help with your emotional stability. I was just on a call last night, matter of fact, and one of the women on there, she is a doTERRA advocate as well, and she had lost her oldest son in a motorcycle accident, and she didn't even she was getting support from her friends through several different oils for the first year and beyond. But you're using these things and sometimes you don't even really realize, like, why did that calm me down so well? How did this work so well to support my system?
Exactly.
Of course, you're still grieving. Of course, you're still going through everything that you're going through. But these are measures to help support your system, support your nervous system, support the mental health. And it's not like a cure-all.
It's not meant to solve the problem.
It's not, you still have to
support.
put in
like
the
that's
work.
Such a good word.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a supportive system. And she was just talking about how the oils and everything. And then when she started using the Adaptive, which is a great blend and a supplement, really just took her to the next level, that any of the medications she was actually on from the doctor made way better versus the medication. So, one medication can lead to another and then to another. Whereas if you're using some good supportive natural remedies, that typically won't lead to symptomatic issues.
because basically what ends up happening is when you're going through all that emotion, it triggers a lot of disease. And so because the stress is the number one reason people go to the doctor, that's where a lot of the illnesses come from. Cancer can be triggered off of a lot of stress.
Absolutely.
So if you're using supportive methods to help calm your system, then your body's not fighting itself. And this inflammation is what's causing the illnesses.
Huge.
So by having that inflammation, so instead of adding on medication, which has side effects, if you're using things that are more natural and supportive that can calm your system, then you're not going to have to take these medications because your system will be less. You won't have high blood pressure because your system is.
And there's a lot of cases where if you are on a lot of medications where you're using more natural and supportive methods over time. Talking with your doctor and making sure that you're in good communication, you can get off of a lot of that stuff. I helped my mom do that. I've helped my husband do that. Helped a lot of people be able to do that. So it's important to have those methods there for you. I'm not knocking Western medicine. It's very important for when it comes to emergency care and things like that. And, there are certain things that are necessary, but we have so many different methods and products out there and support systems that are great for you.
So you don't want to put a Band-Aid on it. And that's the problem with a lot of Western medicine is they put a Band-Aid on it and then that Band-Aid causes something else and then they have to keep putting it
and
in.
nothing ever really solves the problem per se. Like even,
it doesn't. It's not going to go away.
Aren't going to necessarily solve the problem, but my guess is they're going to make it, because you're calming your body, you're calming your nervous system. They're going to make it so much easier to deal with these things in your life,
and then create that. Create the solving.
Exactly.
You're going to manage.
You're going to be clear-headed. You're not going to be in that fog, and all of that. You're going to be able to have deductive reasoning. And
I always like
you
to
can
say,
manage yourself. You can manage your life and you can still get up and go on with life because a lot of times when something horrific like that happens, if there's other children around that are also there, it's like they still need you. Other people around you still need you. And when you're going through huge emotional losses or any kind of illness or anything like that, other people need you. So that's where, and I hate saying selfish, but it's like you have to focus on you, trying to take care of you and make yourself better so that you can provide that for other people. Because it's absolutely selfless.
And then that can take you into that mind shift, that self-care that is not selfish. And you don't have to feel guilty about it because you know that this is supporting you, it's helping you, and it's helping you to be able to help others. Yeah. And so, the second question for Mindy would be, another question.
We already did these two.
Okay.
Well, we did do question number 2.
Did we do 2?
No, we did 3. We didn't do
okay.
We skipped. It made more sense.
Well, that was kind of like it. The one we.
So when somebody has spent years putting others first, what does rebuilding self-trust actually look like in practice? Which we just kind of went over, but if you have more.
It might look selfish, to put yourself first and to say, look, I need a minute for me. But it's absolutely not. It's totally not selfish. It's necessary self-care. We need to trust ourselves and realize how important it is to take care of ourselves first so that we can continue to show up for others. If we choose to. It's a choice, but you have to, especially in a trauma like that, you have to give yourself time. You can't just jump right back into life. It's just not, it's not going to work out.
Takes time.
You have to give yourself that healing, that healing time and self-healing time. and I'm a big advocate of like, moms taking an hour a week or a month or, whatever you're allotted, your schedule allows you to do, but just do a you thing, do something you enjoy, make a list. Just had a client who, she was like, her husband he gets worried that if she goes to do something by herself, that she's walking out on him, like leaving or something. And I'm like, well, sit down together and make the list together. And then she'll be like, well, and then I feel bad because we're not doing it as a family. And I'm like, all right, well, you go do the thing first. Be like, oh, this was great for me. Or this was great. We should do this again with the family, but include them, let them help you make the lists of, the things you want to do.
Yeah,
like that.
I used to tell people it's like yours, ours, mine, ours kind of thing. It's like you have your thing, I have my thing, and then we have our things together.
Exactly.
And to me, that helped things because I didn't want to do everything he wanted to do, and he didn't want to do what I.
And that's
then
where
we
compromise
find
comes in.
Yeah,
Compromise is huge.
And I had one friend who, her husband, and it was sweet because he would help set it up. She loves scrapbooking. So one of my clients, she used to do this, but he would actually find, he would schedule would surprise her with a weekend away at a hotel somewhere, and she could just go and scrapbook. And that's what she would do. She would just buy, he would buy her everything, get her some wine and everything so she could sit there.
Can he have a conversation with my husband?
That's what I'm like thinking. He would just book a place for her, and then he'd be like, here's
let me go away for the weekend. Let me work on my book.
Yeah.
No
cool.
distractions.
Right?
That would be amazing.
Maybe there's a good one.
Hey,
Valentine's.
Mindy mentioned.
Look at the last part of this podcast.
Watch our podcast.
This is a good affirmation. Taking care of my heart helps me care for the people I love.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So, okay, we have a couple more questions here. What are some early signs about a relationship going into this? Romantic or platonic is draining the heart instead of supporting it. So what would be some early signs?
So when I read this question, I took it platonically. And I actually had a friend over with me. She was just moral support. I like having company when I'm doing work. And so I was like, I'm going to ask her the questions and get her answer. And it was completely off where I would have answered.
Okay.
But like I said, I went platonic on this one. This is the topic that I personally struggle with, mostly because I'm an empath, like I said. If spending time with someone or the thought of spending time with them feels exhausting, then you need to reevaluate your relationship. And if you need to step away for a little while to recharge, or if you need to step away permanently.
That's absolutely
happening.
So I have some friendships I fall into this category, and it's really hard to find that balance and to, but I mean, obviously in a regular relationship, like a relationship with a partner, a romantic partner, there's definitely going to be red flags, but they're different for everybody.
Yeah.
And so communication right up front is super important because, part of the thing too, with communication in the scenario that I, gave was the person might not realize they're stressing you out like this.
Yeah.
They might have no clue. And if you don't tell them, then nothing's going to change. And then you're going to distance yourself and they're going to wonder what happened.
Yeah.
And, all of that. But with a romantic relationship, right from the get-go, you need to okay, if this, after a few dates, if you're like, okay, I really want to get serious about this person, you need to sit down and talk to them. You need to set up expectations. You need to find out,
boundaries.
Just boundaries.
Yeah.
And, and you can get as deep into it as you want. Do you believe in shared bank accounts? Do you know? I
think it's tough for people because a lot of people don't do that where they should. Absolutely. Because then you get
and then they're like, I missed the red
relationship,
flags. And I'm like, well, you never addressed the red flags. It's not that you missed them. You didn't even look for them.
Yeah.
Because you didn't talk.
And
you didn't
expectations
communicate.
are bad. It's like, just because that's your expectations. Me and Jeff have had conversations about that. And I'm like, what your expectations are. And even when it comes to the kids, what are your expectations for my kids and your relationship? It's us together, but your relationship with my kids, and then you have your kids, and it's what's that going to look like in one family?
What do you guys?
Especially,
what do you expect in this situation?
Yeah, because you have a mother, father, and now here you. Where's your part? Where's your role?
And you don't have to sit down and talk about it all at once. Maybe sit down together and make a list of the things you want to talk about. One of the things that when I coach is when you talk, and this actually came up this morning, the one-to-ones, when she
Mhm.
was talking about the one-to-ones. I tell them to set a timer
Mhm.
because people don't hear, they are just waiting for what they're going to say next.
Mhm.
You know, and so you set a timer and each person gets to talk for 10 minutes, 15 minutes or whatever. And the other person just has to listen,
Mhm.
take notes, do whatever you want so that you know, and then you have your opportunity, you know, to comment or whatever, but, you know, set a timer, let each person talk,
Yeah.
you know, make lists. I'm all
Yeah,
about my
they could just be
lists.
talking
Yeah.
over each other.
And you're not really listening.
And talk,
Yeah.
talk better, not more.
And then the thing that came up for me when you guys were talking about that is like, if we don't have that good self-esteem, if we don't have that good self-image, and we're in a relationship and we see the red flags, but then ignore them because we think we're not good enough to address
Yeah, that we
this.
just deserve it or
And
something.
we just
yeah.
deserve whatever we get, or you know what, no matter what, this person loves me, even if they're treating me like crap. You know,
Well,
that's
that's not
where
love.
so then it's like you're kind of like, well, how do I stay in this relationship, or how do I get
Or
out of this
fix it,
relationship?
or
I gotta fix
is
this
it going to
person.
fix it, or
Yeah.
is it going?
And that
And if
does
you
really
ever-
start from within. I
Yeah.
And if you ever, right off the bat, if you meet somebody and you're like, I can fix them, move on.
You need to leave.
Right.
Don't.
If you think
Nobody
they're going to
is-
change something.
Well, yeah, you should never ever go into a relationship hoping, expecting, thinking someone's going to change
Mm-hmm.
or thinking they need to change in order for it to be successful. Then it's
Mhm.
not your person.
Yeah.
And you should never go into a relationship thinking, oh, this person is broken, I need to fix them.
Yeah.
Nobody's
I'm here to help
broken.
them.
Yeah.
Nobody's broken. You know, you might need to be tweaked, you might need to be improved, you might whatever, but you don't need to be fixed.
And it's
You
up
know.
to that specific person to
To
improve
make-
their
to
own
decide.
life.
Yeah, to want. And that's a conversation you have and be like, hey, these are the things that are uncomfortable with. These are the things that, you know, whatever, you know, and then don't say, I want you to change. You know, let
That's
them
not
see if they recognize, you know, what you're saying and say, oh, I can improve on that, or I can whatever. And then, you know, you fill it out and you give it a little time. But yeah, you don't ever go in and say, okay, I need to change this person.
Right.
That was like
Then
a
it's not
big
your
one.
person.
Yeah, that was a big one with my ex-husband. Is that we were complete polar opposites, and I was always like, oh, would come out with us. He was an introvert. He liked just staying. You know, he was an introvert. He didn't want to go out, and I go and I pull him out, and I go, no, come out with us. Let's go out. We're going to the clubs. When we were before we had kids, were married or anything, and then it was late. It affected us. I mean, we were together for 23 years. We made it work. But there was a lot in it towards the end that I just kept thinking, yeah, that he was going to, you know, I'll keep doing what I'm doing and he'll just come along and want to do those things. No. And then, you know, it was funny.
And he
because
shouldn't
after,
have to.
No. And after
just his
that, people
personality.
kept saying, well, what did you guys do? You know, like, cause we separated and then we got back together. One of the things he realized was, you know, stop trying to fix the other, you know, and people would ask us all the time what happened. And we're like, you got to stop trying to fix the other person, work on yourself. And if you guys are come back together, and that's what happens. We didn't. We realized we worked on ourselves and not stopped trying to fix each other and realized, you know what, we're better off friends. And and we got divorced, and it was
And
the
that's
best thing
where-
that we could have done.
Exactly.
But it
And
was.
that's-
Now we're
you
great
know,
friends.
And that's where compromise is huge. You know, there's a difference between you need to change because I want you to go out with, you know, and be
Yeah.
this party person that I am, and you
And
know,
they're
you're
just
stop
not.
being an introvert. There's a difference between that and, hey, you know, once in a while, because this is important to me, can you do this?
Yes, exactly.
And
yes.
then once in a while, something maybe, you know, maybe you want me to go with you to the sports bar and watch the game because you don't want to go alone and none of your buddies are available.
Yeah.
Well, not my favorite thing to do, but of course I'm going to do it.
But
know?
you do
Yeah,
it because you
support
want to
each
be with
other
them.
and
Yeah,
support
it's
each
kind of
other.
like you go because you love that person and you want to be with
Exactly.
them, but you're not forcing them to hate it.
You know, as long as you're not compromising your integrity and your values and all of that, you know, it's not going to kill you.
Perfect. Yes.
Okay,
If someone wants, yes.
So,
What
If
is
someone wants to strengthen their relationship this year, what's one small realistic shift you can make that creates the biggest ripple effect?
well,
There you go.
so my answer is communicate. You know, with yourself, obviously, and communicate with the other, so that you can communicate with others effectively. Communication is huge, and back it up in order to, you know, to understand, you know, and to get to the communication part, you have to realize the other person can't read your mind.
Oh,
Right.
That is such a huge
And that
one. And it's
is-
like, if you expected
Oh
that, and you
my
never told me
gosh,
that.
right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yes.
and that's why I say right at the beginning, sit down, set up expectations. I mean, you're not going to think of everything, but the
Mhm.
big stuff, right?
Yeah.
And again, if you're, well, you should have known. There's a song.
Exactly.
There's
That's
a song by
always-
Joe Messina, and she's a country artist, and she has a song called "Well, You Ought to Know That" or something like that. And the whole song is just makes me cringe because I'm like, well, you ought to know that about me. You ought to know that.
Yeah.
Well,
You love me.
how? Yeah. My husband and I have been together 30 years Sunday from the day we met. And thank you. And there's stuff that, I'm like, yeah, you probably ought to know that about me by now, but I'm still going to remind you because clearly you don't remember.
Right? It's not that they're
They're not trying to be maliciously.
yes, and they're not always.
Yeah.
People don't do that intentionally. I think
Right.
a lot of times
And
it's
even-
just that.
yeah.
Yeah, it's like my friend. I remember early on, my friend told me stop setting expectations on them without you telling them.
Right.
And it comes down to that whole thing where husband and wife, and the dishes aren't done, and the wife's like, well, you should have known I want to do the dishes, or you should have.
I want you to want to do the dishes.
Yes.
Yep.
Expecting them. And I learned this early on from her. And she was like the one I always looked up to because she got married like at 20 or something and had kids early. And so I'd always call her up about advice on things. And she's like, stop putting expectations. Those are yours. You want the kitchen cleaned this way. He cleans it like this.
Done is done.
It's done. That's it.
So, and that's
stop.
fine. And if it bothers you that much, have a conversation.
Yeah, on how you
Yeah.
want it.
On how,
Or how you
can
want
we
the bed
make- How
made,
can
or-
we make this
Yes.
work together?
Okay, I'll clean the kitchen, you clean the bathroom.
Yes,
Yeah,
and no one
exactly.
complains. And nobody
you
says
don't,
anything.
you don't get, you do
If you
your
don't like
way,
it, go fix it up a little
Exactly.
bit
If
better.
you don't like it, do it yourself.
Yeah.
That causes, I think that's one of the biggest causes
Yeah.
of a lot of arguments.
Well, and it's funny.
Relationships.
I had a client recently working on herself, and one of her things was she gets so upset and angry at other people's behavior. Like going out in public, going to Walmart is a huge stressful experience for her because everybody else doesn't have etiquette, doesn't do this right, doesn't do that right. And I'm like, I told her, I said, well, first of all, you don't know their story. You don't know what they're going through that day, that
They're
moment.
not you.
Exactly.
They have no idea.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you allowing them that power to ruin your entire day? You go home and you make, you take it out on your kid and your husband.
I'm like, this is just woo.
Why are you giving them that power to completely dictate how your day is going to go?
Yeah,
Exactly.
and they
Because
don't
they
even know.
park their cart in the middle of the aisle.
Mhm.
They have no clue.
That is
that
so
they're bothering
funny. That
anybody.
is so true. It's like, why are they? Yeah, me and Jeff have had that conversation. I'm
Yeah,
like, why
we do that.
why are you
that guy
so mad
That guy
at
cut
I'm
you
like,
off in
yeah.
traffic.
and now you're mad at me. I didn't do it.
Yeah, your emotions are your own.
Yeah.
Nobody controls your
No,
emotions but you.
your reaction to something that somebody does is it's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
Exactly.
this may be something,
Yeah.
and you reacted this way, and now you're mad at me because I didn't react the
Mhm.
same way that you reacted. And I'm like, sorry, I just doesn't. I don't care.
It goes along with forgiveness. When you forgive somebody, you're doing it for yourself.
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. When
Not
it comes to
necessarily for them, unless they ask.
Yeah,
But a lot of times,
exactly. Yeah. All
Well,
right. Well, this has
That was
been fun.
amazing. I
I
think
know,
that
we're
was
gonna
the
have to-
perfect spot to kind of wrap things up.
All right. So, wrap this all up. I want to thank you, Mindy, for
Thank
joining
you.
us. We had a great conversation. This is actually
Yeah.
kind of fun. Bring her back again. But to recap everything, remember, self-care is not selfish, okay? It is selfless. It's giving to other people. You want to make sure that you take care of yourself. You want to move your body daily. Get up and just go for a walk. I mean, this week we have a great weekend, and then it gets
beautiful
back.
Yes,
And then it's going to
beautiful.
snow, but it's going to be beautiful this weekend. So we have here in Colorado, we have to actually take advantage of the nice days.
Yeah.
Get out and get some fresh air, fuel our heart, try to, get our exercise, but making sure that we're eating the proper foods, support our emotions because those are going to affect how well we stay. If we're
Mhm.
sick, those can affect your weight, your just people
Everything,
around
yeah.
you. And okay, just think about it. Reflection question. Think about it for yourself. What's one way you can show your heart love this week?
Yes, we would love to know. Please post a comment. What is one way that you will show your heart love this week? Let's see. What would you ladies do? What are you going to do? We're all like,
What am I going to do?
What am I
Now
gonna
she
do
put
to
us
show
on
my
the
heart love?
So, kind of just take some time for me. Maybe get outside, just relax.
Yeah, and that's kind of for me. Like this morning, I finally got back into my yoga and my meditation and prayer time, and that is really a time that I find is very soothing and emotionally cleansing for my soul and my heart. And then, of course, I'm definitely going for a walk.
I one thing that I was saying to myself a couple days ago is like, I absolutely need to get up and start. I feel like I'm busy all the time. I don't want to be the busy, oh, my steps because I'm busy. I want to actually focus more on going outside and not thinking about anything.
Being intentional.
Yes, being intentional, not thinking about what is it that I have to do. Just kind of enjoying looking around and seeing the beauty of the world, God's creation.
Mine's kind of ongoing. I mean, yeah, obviously, if I can go take a walk, which I don't enjoy.
She told me
at all.
I was like, okay, where's your mailbox?
I really don't like walking. It's a trigger for me from my childhood. Anyway, but no, mine's ongoing because I'm really working hard on my health right now. And I mean, you guys know my sleep issues and things like that. But in addition to that, I'm really going to be working. I'm working with Victoria. But yeah, really kind of just nailing down my health and just making better decisions.
Great. Excellent.
Yeah, so think about that and share it with us. We love to hear feedback. We want to hear what you want to hear on our podcast. And don't forget to subscribe. Go to our YouTube channels. Mine's Healthy and Wealthy Women, and on YouTube.
Leandra's Integrative Wellness. Yeah, share, subscribe, share it with somebody that you think will benefit from this, that you want to share it with. We'd love for you to be able to share our information.
And if you have any questions, again, here for you. If you have anything going on.
So I am actually going to be on the 15th of February. I'm going to be down in Pueblo at the Convention Center at the big bridal show that they do every year. It's from 12 to 3. It's free and open to the public.
Which is nice because a lot of them charge.
Yeah, and they don't, which is really nice for you guys.
That would be perfect.
So yeah, come on down if you know someone that's getting married, if you're getting married, if maybe you just want to, find a really good photographer or something like, because that's the kind of people that are going to be there. And then I'm going to be there offering relationship coaching. So
excellent.
What day is this?
February 15th. So Sunday,
Sunday,
12 to 3.
Day after Valentine's.
Yes.
All right.
Well, thank you all for so much for coming. Did you have anything?
No, I don't have anything going on.
I'm good. Follow us. Find us on social media.
And remember,
yes.
You want to say that?
Okay.
I was going to. We should learn how to say this together. Your heart deserves care, not just in February, but every day.
Love you guys. Have a good one.
Bye.